This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
On this episode of Discover the Upper Cumberland, we explore historic rugby, enjoy the beautiful art of Jack Loeb, find a source of hope in Mended Little Hearts, and hear an inspiring story of success with Honest Abe Log Homes. So come along and together we'll discover the Upper Cumberland. Welcome to Discover the Upper Cumberland. We're so excited to bring you more stories about interesting people and places throughout the Upper Cumberland. I'm Celeste Flatt-Bennett, and I'm honored to be your guide on this adventure. If you love history, there is a beautiful place nestled in the woods south of the Big South Fork that is abundant in historical information and scenery that can take you back to a community created through the dream of a British author searching for a better life in America.
Well, welcome to Historic Rugby. We are in Christ Church Episcopal, which is a church built in 1887, and this town was founded by Thomas Hughes, a British social reformer, author, politician, lawyer, who wanted to set up a town about second sons where they would have a chance to start over, move here from England, and have a total new life. The second sons in England did not inherit. Usually everything went to the first son. So this was a chance for them to start over in a new place, and they could do jobs that would be not shunned or looked down upon if they did them in England. They could be shopkeepers, they could be farmers, they could do things here that they couldn't do back in England. It started that Thomas was looking for a piece of property. He had this vision and he wanted to start this utopian village. And it turned out that a gentleman in Boston named Franklin Smith had this piece of property and was looking to put miners and people that were out of work in the north back to work, but they went back to work. So this property became available, and he knew that Mr. Hughes was looking for a piece of property, so Thomas ended up buying this property in the Upper Cumberland of Tennessee. I think the biggest problem that Thomas had was with the deeds for the property. It took a long time for a Mr. Walton, our surveyor, here to get all the deeds straightened out. So the first winter, they ended up ice skating and playing tennis because the deeds were not ready for the people when they got here. The local people here were a little bit leery of these second-born sons moving here from England, but they soon all got along together. A very good story about that is Emily Hughes thought a lot of the Massengill family, and her grandmother would go and visit Mrs. Massengill and spend time at the Massengill home place. When we do a tour and we take people to the different buildings, we do Kingstone Lisle, which is Thomas Hughes' home. We do Christ Church, which was established in 1887. We do the Thomas Hughes Library, which was established in 1882. And then we go to our schoolhouse, which is a one-room schoolhouse, and it was established in the 1880s. It also burnt and was rebuilt in 1907. Thomas Hughes' home was built in the Carpenter Gothic style in 1884, and had it been built in England, it would have been built out of stone because wood was plentiful here in the Upper Cumberland. All the houses here in Rugby are made from wood. The other place would be the Thomas Hughes Library, also a very, very beautiful building built by Cornelius Onderdonk, and we have all 7,000 books that were donated are in that library. The wonderful thing about the church is that it has been a church since 1880. They still have service every Sunday morning from 11 to 12, and it's wonderful to hear the bell ring at 11 and again at 12 when it's over. Rugby has 10 trails. One of our most popular ones is the Gentleman's Swimming Hole. And you would go to the Laureldale Cemetery, and there is a trailhead there, and you can go down to the Gentleman's Swimming Hole. It's a nice walk. I think one of the most interesting statements that I get, usually on a weekly basis, is I've lived in Tennessee my whole life and did not know that rugby was here. So we're kind of a hidden gem up here in the Upper Cumberlands. I have been a volunteer here since 2014, and my first experience with rugby was a wedding at Christ Church in 1985. It is such a wonderful experience to be working here. You learn something new about the village every day, somebody that lived here, somebody that did just something just very unique and very different. It's an awesome place to be part of. I think the most special part of rugby for me is seeing all of the preservations of the buildings, the furniture that they've got here, just everything that they've been able to preserve from the 1880s. It's just amazing that it's still here. I think the one thing that Historic Rugby, their main mission is preservation, and to have it here for generations to come and be able to see these buildings, see the furniture, walk the trails, just have that 1880s experience, I think everybody should come and see Historic Rugby.
Jack Loeb didn't begin his adult career as an artist, but later in life he made a most promising discovery that he instantly developed a passion for, and then made it his life's work. Using bold, bright colors, he brings to life the world around him while brightening the world of those intrigued by his artistic talents.
Well, I got into painting rather indirectly, I suppose. I had gone into the Navy right after high school, and I actually thought I was going to be a sailor for the rest of my life. And after going out to sea for some time and being out at sea for long days, it just was not very interesting to me. It wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be like. So I was rather disappointed in that, and I actually can remember myself doing some praying where I hoped that whatever I did in life I would find a passion for doing. So when I got out of the service, I went to college, and in my sophomore year I had to take a class in Essentials of Art. And by taking this class I thought, my goodness, this is a lot of fun. It was just very interesting to me to make things. So then I transferred to the University of Northern Iowa and took some drawing classes and painting classes, and I began to think maybe a person could do this the rest of their life. I'm pretty much in my studio for long periods of the day, which I really enjoy. I work a lot on watercolors. I love the transparency of the watercolor. I also work with acrylic paintings, and there's just so much you can do with acrylics, and oftentimes the color is a little bit more bold, so they certainly have their attributes too. This is a project working with the stencil of a leaf, and the way that this was begun is this was the first color on the paper, and the entire paper where it was colored with different, mostly warm colors, a lot of warm pieces here. So after that is dried, then the leaf is stapled down on top, And then I simply take a brush and I paint away from the leaf, like so. And I try to get a lot of very strong dark colors because it's the darks that will make the lights appear to be lighter. My late wife and I wanted to have an adventure overseas. Through the Placement Bureau, a job offering came through to work for the Air Force at Lodges Air Force Base in the Azores. Terceira is the island. And so we did that for 2 years. I transferred to the education part of DODS, which is the Department of Defense. Never in my life would I thought I would enjoy teaching elementary, but the enthusiasm of these students was remarkable. The really interesting thing about teaching is I think for most teachers, there's a great deal of satisfaction from seeing students learn something. And that's certainly my case. Oftentimes, there are students that, when I was teaching elementary, that were not academic achievers. And much to my surprise, sometimes they were able to excel wonderfully with the art. It's just really exciting to see what students can accomplish. And even though I steer them in one direction, as it is, of course, everyone has their own ideas and things, and that's very interesting too. So I learn a lot from the students. It's a give and take, it really is. This is a very simple exercise right here. This has to do with 2 or 3 real basic colors. Now with these 2 colors, add more water, bringing it towards the brown. You get these very, very beautiful colors here. As it granulates down the paper, you can see this granulation here. A little bit more water. It goes lighter and darker all the time, depending on how much water is in the pigment. I get so much enjoyment out of just watching how these colors flow together. It's kind of like a meditation, is what it really is. I might see paintings that I know that I did them down at the creek, not far from the house here, and it takes me back to that moment. In a way, it's a little bit like taking photographs, but with art, you can play around with things a lot. You can move the trees from one place to another. You can make all sorts of combinations, yet still have the essence of that place, essentially.
When parents face the adversity of having a child born with a congenital heart defect or a heart disease, there is an organization that they can turn to for support and encouragement for both the parents and children. Mended Little Hearts has helped many families across the Upper Cumberland, bringing hope and support during difficult times. We are here today with Nicole Brim of Mended Little Hearts of the Upper Cumberland, and she's joined us to tell us all about the organization here across the Upper Cumberland. What do you guys have going on at Mended Little Hearts of the Upper Cumberland? What do you do there?
Well, we are a local group of a larger organization, Mended Little Hearts, which is a national group. Our chapter is based out of Cookeville, but we service all the counties in the Upper Cumberland. And we are basically a support group for families of children born with congenital heart defects.
So when does the family contact you, or how does Mended Little Hearts get involved?
One thing that we do is we provide support to families at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. So when the family arrives there, we provide them with what's called a bravery bag. And we send these to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital every month, and some of the charge nurses there at Vanderbilt Children's distribute these to those families that are in the pediatric cardiology unit. And this is basically just a care bag for those families, something to let them know that they're not alone during this very challenging and difficult time in their lives. We always put, this is our mascot for Mended Little Hearts, the brave lion, and he's got a little shirt on that says, "I roar for CHD." So we always give the brave lion to the child along with a birth certificate the day that they had their heart surgery.
Right.
And then just some different care items for the family, a blanket, some snacks, a journal that they may want to write down their thoughts as they're going through this process.
Help ease the process a little
Yes,
bit if
absolutely.
they can express that.
And then we have just some great educational resources that we provide. There's something that they can access online. There's also a hard copy of a book in here that just has some great information about navigating this
Journey
new
that they are
journey
on.
that they're
Yes,
on.
unfortunately.
We also, if a family has a child whose heart defect is detected before birth, we try to get information out to local cardiologists so that they can refer those families to us who would like extra support.
What other support can you offer a family?
As part of the national organization, we try to match those families with another family whose child has the same heart defect. If that's somebody local, we definitely try to match them with someone local. If not, we can match them where they can have a phone call or email conversation with another family, which is great just to ease their mind about any upcoming surgeries or procedures they may have.
Right.
A lot of times there's feeding questions and concerns and things like that. So we offer that peer-to-peer support. And then we also do local support group meetings. Throughout the year, we do just different fun social events. My daughter was actually born with a congenital heart defect, and she is 6 years old now, and so she really looks forward to those social events where she gets to be with her other heart buddies, her other
Right.
friends that have that same scar that she has, and so that's neat for those children to get to meet other people who have been
Right.
through that same thing.
Right. What about funding for Mended Little Hearts? Do you have fundraisers? How can people get involved and help you?
Yes, we are a nonprofit organization, and so we do fundraisers throughout the year. One of our big things that we've done in the past is a superhero heart run, 5K. We did not do that this year, but we're planning on bringing back a different type of 5K in 2019.
Wonderful.
We have received several grants over the years. One that we've been really fortunate is the Cookeville Junior Women's Club through their Santa's Workshop that they do every year. We've received that several years in a row to help fund our Bravery Bag program.
Fabulous.
And then we also have people that have just been very generous to make donations.
Give us a heartwarming story of how Mended Little Hearts has impacted a family here in the Upper Cumberland.
One neat story that we had happen just recently was there was a family that we hadn't met, but they received a Bravery Bag when they were in the hospital at Vanderbilt Children's. Her son was 5 years old and was having a second open heart surgery. And he was amazed to get this care package because he really didn't know any other kids from his school or anything who had CHD. And we put a water bottle in the care packages with our logo on it. And she said that when he started kindergarten, he was just so proud of that water bottle. He carried it every day to school. Well, he lost it. So she reached out to us and asked if they could please purchase a water bottle. And I said, no, we'll send him 2 or 3 so he has a
Right.
backup. But that just meant a lot to know that just that water bottle helped him and made him
Gave him some security
Yes,
and
absolutely.
relate to
Yes.
something fabulous. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for being with us and coming in and educating us on Mended Little Hearts. And if you want to get involved or volunteer or help in any way, please reach out to Nicole Brim through Facebook or all the information that she gave. We all have dreams of great success, but many of us allow the naysayers and doubters to keep us from stepping out on faith to make those dreams a reality. If Doug Smith of Moss, Tennessee had not followed his heart, he would not have had the incredible success that has been proven by Honest Abe Log Homes. And many people in this small, rural community would be forced to travel long distances to find good work opportunities.
My dad, Doug Smith, was born in 1943 in a rural community called Union Hill in Clay County, Tennessee. And Clay County has 7,000 people. That's about the most in the entire county. So it was a very, very small community where pretty much everybody farmed, and most of the time the kids didn't even make it through high school or college. But my dad, growing up in those conditions, wanted something more for himself. And his dream was he wanted to own his own business one day. So after he served in the United States Army, he come back home to this small area, Moss, Tennessee, in Clay County, population of 7,000 people with no traffic lights, just very rural, sweet little community that we love. And he started his first business. And this may be a little strange what he started out doing, but he actually started making mop and broom handles in a little block building just across the road here. And that's how Dad started. And what he did was he went to other sawmills in the area and he got their scrap lumber, just lumber they didn't use, and he brought it back here and just made mop and broom handles. So that was in 1968. But it didn't take Dad long to realize there wasn't a lot of money in making mop and broom handles, so he went on and developed a business that he knew second best, and that was the sawmilling industry. So Dad actually put in a circle saw and hired his first employee. We now have over 150 employees that work here now in this small area. And not only do we have 150 employees that work directly with us, we also have a lot of contractors out there that build homes for us, or they are logging crews. So there's a lot more than just the 150 people that work here day to day with us. He continued to have a dream. He developed the sawmilling business, that escalated into dry kiln lumber, and then there was waste at the time, so Dad hated waste. So he actually took all the bark from the trees and he recycled it to make mulch. So Barky Beaver Mulch and Soil Mixes was born. So he put a boiler system in and put the dry kilns in, and he actually used all the sawdust that the sawmills were making to use for fuel for the boiler system. So then he got into dry kiln lumber and named that company GF Hardwoods. With all this new product, he needed a trucking company, so he started a fleet of trucks called Happy Trucking. After Dad started in the mop and broom handles and developed the sawmill and developed the dry kiln lumber and the mulch industry, he still had a dream. And the dream was he wanted a log home. It was as simple as that. He loved log homes and he thought other people in the area would like to live in a log home too. Then the first Honest Abe Log Home was born, which is the house that my brother and I grew up in and that my mom still lives in today. We lost Dad in 2011 to a battle with cancer, but we are so thankful and so blessed to be able to continue on his legacy and his dream of log home living to everyone. I remember multiple times he took us to Bardstown, Kentucky, and on the way you stop and you could see where Abraham Lincoln was born in the log cabin. It's kind of where the name came from. Honest Abe Log Homes, that's kind of where he got his beginning, and so many other people got their beginning were in log cabins that was made by their parents or their grandparents, and it's something they passed down generations. And I think that's something Dad wanted people to be able to do, was build this log home and have their dream of that come true and connect with history a little bit, and then be able to pass that down generation to generation, because they're timeless. Log homes are timeless. And I think that was what his vision and intent was. And he hired amazing people that grabbed that vision and carried that on, and we're still carrying it on today. I love business. I'm an entrepreneur. I love business. We just developed a little store in Cookeville. We're having barn sales on our farm now. I love businesses. I love what they bring to the community and the economy. And I guess I would just say, if somebody wanted to start their own business, do it. Give it a shot. Try it. Just go for it. If you want to start a business, I would be the first to encourage you and to cheer you on in starting a business, because I think that if you have a dream of doing something and a passion, share it. You know, the Lord all gives us different strengths. You know, utilize your strengths and try it.
give it a shot, because no one else is going to do it for you. You have to do it, and that's what Dad did. He started out making mop and broom handles, and honestly, that was a failure, but he didn't give up. He still wanted his own business, so he tried again. And he continued trying until he was able to create what he's created now, that we're able to employ so many people, and those people be able to provide for their families in such a small community, which is most important to us, and we find just the biggest blessing of all is to be able to provide jobs so people can provide for their families. I really feel, and I've always believed, that the Lord blessed Dad with being able to provide these jobs and to build these companies into what they are today, because there was nothing here. There's no jobs here. People were having to go to Indiana or drive hours or move their family away to get work. But now, because of these businesses, people can stay home and have a really good job and provide for their families. And that's our #1 goal, is to provide jobs in our community and also give back as much as we can.
Thank you for exploring the Upper Cumberland with us. For more information on this show, visit our website, WCTE.org/discover. If you have any story ideas you think we should feature, email us at discover@WCTE.org. I'll see you next time, and together we'll discover the Upper Cumberland.
This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.